closed to fluid disabled aircraft. All landing and departing aircraft expect runway 13. All fixed-wing aircraft contact clearance delivery 127.9 or 5 prior to taxi. All aircraft read back runway hold short instructions and runway assignment with call signs. Notice to airmen, taxiway Quebec, uneven pavement at taxiways Alpha and Echo. Crane 1/4 mile north of the approach end of runway 26, 75 feet, AGL, flagged and unlit. Caution bird activity in the vicinity. Advise on initial contact. You have ATIS information, India.
India! I did a lot of stuff, but that's okay. Now we're at a stage where all the frictions are off on the aircraft. You can put your hand on the left hand on the collected, and you can roll the RPM.
Executive Tower, Skyco 20521 is ready to...
Past 80%, but with governor will pick up, and the RPM will go up and stabilize. So if you go towards you, there we go, you will reduce the RPM, and if you go towards me, you will increase it. Kind of, look at it this way, it's the opposite of a motorcycle.
Okay, no.
There we go. The belts are kind of adapting to the change of load, so there's a little bit of tension being created there. There we go. Two more checks. Is the low rotor RPM light? So I'm going to roll that throttle down very gently. And I'm looking at a number really, so I'm looking at 97 or 98%, and I'm going to raise the collective, and I'm going to let the throttle go now, very slowly. Boom. Now I know precisely that the horn is going to come up between 97 and 98%. The last check is your hydraulics. You're going to flick it off, and gently push forward and back, just a little bit to feel the friction and the heaviness in the control. Flick it back on, and now you should be back in normal. Basically checking the circuit between that switch and your fuse. No warning lights, RPM top of the green, engine instruments in the green, the fuel is good, the clock started, the GPS has the frequency for here and the next frequency with a point of contact, which is KFXC, this airport. The transponder is now on altitude, squawking an altitude, so we're minus 200 feet. Those are based on pressure altitude, which is 2992. So right here you can see that your altimeter and your transponder are synced.
Are you Roger East or Roger?
That's the actual pressure today.
0 Charlie, Roger.
All the frictions are off. The landing lights can come up.
Roger.
I'm looking behind. We closed all our doors.
One make a right.
I didn't close mine.
Westbound runway 13 at Echo.
We look to see if there's no traffic. Now, you look at number 29, and it's all you look at. And very gently, you're going to put that good on the pedals. Left pedal that is, you're going to raise that collective super slow. The cyclic is in a good position. And you're just going to allow the aircraft to rise off the ground gently. We had a little bit too much pedal, right? Now look far outside, look far outside.
November 717. Make a right down.
Beautiful. You know, you're into the wind. This is a hard spot over here because we got all the wind from the building, the trees, etc., etc. But look, I'm going to put you right here. It's clean.
Runway 13, exit to 3D.
I'm going to put you like the windsock in front of you. Back into the wind. Take an object as far as you want, not too far.
Okay.
And focus on it. Like the flashing lights back there, just look at that. And do nothing else but that. Just look at it, don't think. See what I mean? It's okay, let it go. It's gonna come back. A little bit of pitch. Oh, she's back into the wind. And she's happy again. Your hover is gonna go quick and nice. You can already feel that. Okay, very good. Your hands are light, I like that too. Nothing is tight, super. Generate your call. Executive Tower, Helicopter 3112 Tango.
Helicopter 3112 Tango, Executive Tower.
Good afternoon. Coming out of Shelter West for Sierra departure westbound with information.
Helicopter 12 Tango, Sierra departure westbound approved. Departure ramp is at your own risk. Altimeter 3018.
And cleared for the Sierra departure, 12 Tango, thank you. We're going to go back into a position where we can make our takeoff. Make sure that every time we move the aircraft, we know where the tail goes. The target here, as far as your takeoff profile, you see there's a water tower.
Yeah.
That's all you're looking at.
Just like last time.
Yeah, like last time. And gently go
Forward.
Forward hover that you're going to progressively accelerate.
Runway 13 at Alpha.
Feel this.
Wait.
Right here, the aircraft will want to go up. Feel that vibration?
717, do you have the Skyhawk?
If you do nothing, the aircraft will want to go up. So you're going to have to push the cyclic forward. Just a little bit.
Right side, sir.
And hold that attitude.
Contact Miami departure, advising me.
Now we're building speed.
Okay, 119.
Beautiful, get good speed. Look to your right. Take a target. And turn towards your target.
Short runway 13 at Alpha. Jet 380.
Very nice.
Left
The road right here.
Okay.
That's what we're going to follow. Nice. I didn't forget anything.
Make a right down with departure northwest bound, runway 13 at Alpha.
Position, I even like the feet because you're losing the tip of your toes.
Downwind 405 Alpha.
Position is very important, you know. I see a lot of students that come from, long story short, they have weird position and nobody told them, well, why are you flying like that? You know, I see hands crooked and askew on the seat and the feet like this. Nobody said something. So this is good, nice and square.
Number 521 traffic, 10 to 11 o'clock, 2 miles, Bannator orbiting at 1,000.
Wait, it's up to get sign on number 20521.
521, roger.
Raise your collective a little bit. Allow the aircraft by itself to go up. You'll see, there we go, the attitude changes, you see a little bit.
Yeah.
It might decay your speed a touch, but obviously you're holding it nicely. You can already pay attention at your vertical speed indicator.
Pop traffic in the open.
We're going to show a little climb. Right here, you can make a 90-degree turn to your right, westbound.
06 Papa.
It's kind of stiff.
Beautiful, but you see now look at the elements that you have also on the balance. The size of the trucks, the size of the cars, things like that. This is 500 feet. 500 feet.
Yep.
So the cars are about 1.5 inches. Or small car. Or medium car.
Number 04 Alpha, maintain 1,000 till further advised. The traffic approaching from the south of Learjet at 2,500. You're going to be descending for exit.
Staying 1,405 Alpha.
That's the wind. We don't really care. We just go through it. We got to allow a little shake. We cannot control for every little thing.
From the south,
So we got to go with the flow.
2,000.
Out of below 1,006 Papa.
Number 521, frequency change approved.
Frequency head up over 06 Papa. Good day.
Nice. Going down a little bit, so...
Yeah, we're good here. The altitude is great. We're still in the process of leaving this airspace environment.
Papa, check transponder on not receiving.
We have the golf course coming. Well, basically, when you start, that's the turnpike. When you start passing the turnpike, you have give or take 1 mile to go, and you're outside of executive's airspace, or as soon as you meet that canal. And once we do that, still holding that line, following the canal,
2142 Tango.
we'll go for those.
Ready at Alpha.
We'll go for those climbs and descent that we talked about. So since you have a little bit of a mile, start looking down a little bit.
2 Tango, turn left east to the shore, runway 13 at Alpha.
You got 65 on the airspeed.
2142 Tango.
You're keeping a very nice altitude. The VSI is showing a slight descent rate.
Okay.
But all you got to do is bring that cycling back ever so slightly and work on seeing in relationship to your controls how do you influence the instruments. And again, yes, look inside, but if we're to break it in percentage, 90% outside, 10%. Okay? This is visual flight
are you
rules,
on the,
not
turn to the northwest
instrument
now?
flight rule.
I'm sorry, say again?
Correction, not for, disregard 42 Tango. Number 06, Papa, are you in your, northwest turn? The 4606 Papa, executive tower.
Go ahead.
Number 06 Papa, are you going northwest or southwest, sir?
Northwest, sir.
06 Papa, roger. Set your right turn to the northwest.
Right, sir. Proceed to northwest, 06 Papa.
Very nice. Okay. And you can play, now it's your playground. So you can kind of get a feel for, okay, if I bring my cyclic back a little bit, what's going to happen? Yeah, I'm going to bring that thing to 0. Fine. But in relationship to the power that I'm pulling, I'm going to be able to hold only 60 knots. You know what I mean? So, obviously, at 18 inches of manifold pressure for conditions like today, in level flight, meaning we're not going up and down, you will be flying at an airspeed of about 60 knots. Next is to look out and to see what 60 knot looks like. So big important airspeed, and some airspeed for the approaches, for the departures, for the auto rotations, etc. So what does it look like in relationship to certain references? The compass, the string?
Alpha, frequency change approved,
Make a picture.
for abandoned towing in the vicinity.
Frequency change approved, 405 Alpha.
Experiment. This is a bit of experimentation for you to just feel and look at those numbers.
Tower, good morning, Learjet November 818 Lima Juliet, base 13.
Number 818.
Very good. You are just going to raise your... You're going to raise your collective. The goal here is to increase our airspeed. So if you raise your collective, you'll have a little bit of a lean, maybe to the right, therefore you're going to need some left pedal right. You did that already. Keep on raising that collective in a nice, smooth fashion up, and watch what the aircraft does. And attempt to adapt by yourself. Well, it goes right, so I need left pedal. It goes up, so I'll need forward side. See what I mean?
Yep.
So it becomes slowly but surely natural. You don't have to think about it, it just happens. There we go. Visually, of course, you see that. These guys. Your goal is to keep them as hidden behind that black bar as you can. So for example, now I see a little bit of a left string. So I'm going to call that string back by applying a little bit of right pedal. There we go. This is aerodynamical in nature. This is mechanical in nature. This is an inclinometer. Wherever the ball goes, tells you where the tail in relationship to the nose of the aircraft is. Right there, the aircraft is perfectly coordinated, perfectly lined up.
Going straight or follow the...
Yeah, we're going to go
right.
straight. As we're going straight, 600 feet, I would like you to keep on raising your collective. For the climb, we'll call it 1,000. So you're going to climb to 1,000 feet. And you're going to try, why not, to add a layer of complication. You're going to try to keep 70 knots for your climb, the attitude of 70 knots. Keep an eye on that needle, there we go. And now you're experimenting, so you're seeing that it's really all attitude based. If you change your attitude from 60 to 70, look at the ascent rate that you're getting. Very effective.
So we are...
Pay attention and look at what's going on, but really that's outside that you're going to get all the information you really need. Oh, that's what I get in really... Oh, okay, so when I see that, that's what I'm getting, and vice versa. Especially, by the way, when we're going a bit higher like this, because airplanes are flying at this altitude. So we want really our eyes collision in mind, more outside than anything. You know what I mean? Okay, well, let's do the reverse now. If I raise my collective, that means that my nose will go up, I will need some left pedal to stay in trim fine. But if I lower my collective, then it's the opposite. My nose will drop, and I'll probably need some right pedal. So let's try to go back down to 500 feet and make it an effort to keep on your way down the attitude that you see now. So the horizon should not move, should not go up or should not go down. Got a decent airspeed, we got a decent descent rate. If you want to bring your cyclic back a little bit more, let's try that. So gently bring it back. You're going to watch the airspeed bleed away, but more importantly, you're going to see this start to go back towards the zero. And we would like to have, our goal is a 500 feet per minute descent rate. So keep on going down, actually, keep on going down. And try to work your controls to where you lock that needle at 5. Once you're there, take a peek outside, picture, hold.
So we are too low now?
Okay, well, you're never too low.
It's not 500, right?
No. Okay, for you to practice takes a little time. There, you look at that, beautiful, beautiful numbers. Good descent rate, nice and mellow, smooth, comfortable. Okay, well, let's do the opposite. You're leveled again, obviously no climb, no descent, airspeed 70, hold on to 70, and let's go back to 1,000 feet. So collective up, left pedal, ever so slightly, cyclic forward, a little bit. And now you're fine-tuning, you're figuring out, okay, about how much you need.
Yep.
Very sensitive. 500 feet, okay, lock it, don't let it climb too much, there we go, you stop base descent, so a slight pressure forward. There we go, good.
M1, the traffic line, the seaplane is on the east side, so we'll make it westbound.
Okay, it's a little thing, but yeah, those instruments are needed, you know, they're applied physics, they will tell us precisely what we're doing. But not too much. You see the road that you're about to cross?
Yes.
All clear to your right, and yes.
Yeah.
And 90-degree turn over to your right. Look at your horizon. It should stay flat. Into turn so that you don't lose the speed. You can raise a little bit of your power. Are you ready, since you raised the collective, to push the cyclic forward just a little bit? You have your target in your line. Stabilize, look at the picture. Feel for the aircraft, everything is smooth. And what did we manage to do? Nice. We had a little climb, a little descent. But altogether, we're not even looking at the horizon and move.
It's okay.
Yeah, it stayed pretty solid, huh? That's what you want. Yeah, it was about 30 degrees on the bank, by the way, so it was pretty well put together. But you see, we're losing when we make any of those turns. The steeper, of course, the more. We're losing a vertical component of lift to a horizontal component of lift. So not to mention the
speed, right?
Correct. Not to mention the centrifugal force that is engaged into it. So now we're actually increasing the mass of the aircraft that the blades have to support. So those two factors require that if you want to keep altitude and airspeed, you will therefore need to raise your power in the process too. You're going to have to assist your turn with power. So all those turns always have a little bit of collective up when you think about it, unless they're really shallow, you know?
So now we are right about there, right?
You're right, I mean, beautiful numbers. Now, at your leisure, we'll also have fun, and we go a little bit low, and for the camera, where's the camera?
Oh, I took it out because the battery died. I charged it last night, but I don't have it.
Okay. You can...
I have one right there.
Okay. You can. Beautiful, you already set up for it. Look, 500 feet per... You're going to go as low as you feel comfortable with.
Okay.
Airspeed 70 knots, descent rate 500 feet per minute. So that's all you're kind of looking at. As well as your comfortable feel, so either, if anything, cross management, there's only those two instruments.
Yes.
That's it. Okay? remember that every time you get a target that, for example, like now, memorize what you see, because at one point you won't even need that, everything will be visual. Here you feel it slowing down a little bit, right?
Yeah.
This is as low as you feel comfortable with, so
yeah.
You want to stop. Now it's kind of a level off too. We didn't have a target number, but it doesn't matter. Obviously, boom, here is good. Comfort level is 200 feet. There we go, you logged that horizon. Now you can accelerate, decelerate a little bit on that line. From this altitude, we'll perform decelerations. I'll let you first level off to an altitude of your choice that you hold, to an airspeed of your choice that you hold. Something above 60 knots.
This should be fine, right?
Beautiful, look at that.
Don't see any wires around, but...
Oh, here, well, we never know it's true, but here, there's no wires. And now, just take a quick glance at what you got. Now, 65 knots, 100 feet, beautiful. At lock on your horizon, that's how it looks. We're going to decelerate. You're going to decelerate this aircraft by about 20 knots, so you're going to go from 70 to 50. You're going to therefore lower collective. You know now that you're going to need some right pedal, and ultimately some back aft cyclic in order to slow things down a little more efficiently. Once you got 50, you can raise your power back up with some left pedal, and work on your manifold pressure now a little more. Just enough raise to where you see, okay, I'm locking on this airspeed. That's my new airspeed. Power instrument connected to the airspeed, of course, is the manifold pressure. Take a peek at how much you're pulling to hold 60, 50, 70, 80. Of course, it will change with atmospheric conditions and load on the aircraft. But it's a good average right now. What you roughly pull on this aircraft for 60 knots is about 18 inches of manifold pressure. We make little mental checks. A trick. Flying with the thumb. Your collective, you always keep it, you don't have to, it's your call, but I keep my thumb always on top.
Okay.
And now depending on the stuff that I do, photo, whatever, I actually have my thumb projected towards my leg on my seat. Like this. You see it? I have a contact. So now when I raise, for example, let's raise it. Let's go to the red line. So you're going to keep on raising it. You're going to have to, of course, push the cyclic forward to prevent the climb from taking place. We're accelerating, sorry, as fast as we can. Basically, we're going to raise that collective to the red line. And you're going to take note as to where your thumb, that's about right here, it's good, and lock. Now put that thumb on the chair.
Okay.
See where it is? Memorize that. If my thumb goes higher than that, I'm over red line. Things like that. See where it can be useful?
Yeah.
Little things like that, so your body can... Yeah. Oop, okay, you have a sensitive physical checkpoint. Oop. Very good. At your 12 o'clock position, if you want, yes, you can climb up to 500 feet. And airspeed on this one, we'll keep, I don't know, we'll keep 60 or 70 knots, your call.
Okay.
And I would say more like your 11 o'clock position. There's a house down there.
Yeah.
You're going to make a right 360 turn around it. The goal is to try to keep a radius that is consistent as you're making your turn. If your speed is not too fast, those turns are not going to be potentially too banked.
So you said 70, right? 70 knots?
60, 70, the altitude is fine. You got something that you can hold on to. I'm happy with what I see. But take a peek at what you got.
That's what it feels like.
You have your target, you have the distance that you would like to keep from that home, and you're just going to circle it. And as you circle it, well, the goal is to try to keep the altitude, the speed, and the radius. But it's practice. It's for you to see now what will happen also to the attitude. Does it change it or not? What will happen to the altitude? What will happen to the airspeed? What will happen to the power? So you have to cross-check inside a little more than just straight and level flight.
Okay, so we're back to 7. We can start the 360 now.
Alright, so traffic looks all clear, by the way. That's the big one.
Yeah, right, clear.
Yeah. Good distance. It gives it away there because we have a flag, you see, so. And right here, good distance. But that's where the aircraft is going to be slowly, potentially pushed. Ooh, nice. You see you shallowed your bank here, very good.
Yeah.
Now here, of course, you're going to have to probably increase your bank. And this is practice for you. And do it as many times as you feel comfortable, or until you get bored. But you get a feel now. Oh, well, I need that much. I need that much. When I'm going to exit that turn, eventually the aircraft is going to want to dip down.
Yeah.
Now you're figuring out, well, if the aircraft, I'm turning it to the right and or to the left, regardless of what I do to the power, the aircraft will climb and or descend. But now we're changing the position of the relative wind on the wing, or the rotor system. On turns, we usually have we have a little climb on the right and a little descent on the left, and usually we correct simply that by cycling. If you're good with your horizon, you don't even realize that you're making the correction. Much better. So here, you know you're going to have to steepen your turn, so you can start to do that already now. If you want, you can lower collective and raise the nose a little bit. There you go. It's the exit. But the exit will project you out, so it's going to widen the turn.
Yeah.
Not bad at all. Okay. Gonna kind of do a figure 8 wherever you want.
Okay.
You're gonna do the same thing, but now to your left. By the way, when you make turns, recons, or confined approach, or air approach, and so forth, you always do them to your right, because you, of course, all the visibility.
I'm on right side, yeah.
You see everything, yeah.
So we can start here.
Yep, you can make the same thing, make a 180 and back to that house and do a turn around that house now to the left. Now you see here's actually the raise, I'm sorry. When we do those left turns, there's a bit of a nose rise, it's the opposite. So right here, a little bit of power and a little bit of cyclic forward. But it's nice, it's smooth.
189 Alpha Bravo is over. Your call over. I'll be returning to North Ferry. Last call on.
First airspeed. So now.
Very good. You don't have to go back to that house. You can actually, if you want to do that house over here. It's just going to be one 360 turn around that house, left turn. And you see the difference. We always have a side that we favor.
traffic, Money Banner 37 off of Bravo. Is that your call over Sandbar, departing northwest 2nd Third. See ya.
Bye-bye.
Good, because that speed gives you time to really look at your subject in detail. We're high. We're doing about 50, 60. It looks like 50. Good speed, actually.
65 almost.
Actually, it's the perfect speed. 60 is the best speed you can do for those turns. It's docile. It's a good maneuvering speed for those aircraft. Yeah. Well, believe it or not, I think your left side is much more consistent than the right. Yeah, look at that. Well, because you had time to practice there.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so we'll
Probably.
see that again. But good distance, the speed and the altitude did not move.
I try to look more at the horizon than the instruments.
Whatever all the info you need is out there. The disc, the angle. When you set the angle on the horizon, you don't allow it to go up and or down. You level and your turn. In a control tank.
Yeah, when we did the right side, I was looking at the instruments than outside.
At one point you will do that. You won't even think. You know, you'll look at exactly at your subject, and a little bit like driving a car or anything. You won't even think about, you know, the way you handle your controls. It will be totally instinctive. But right now you need to assist yourself more with that horizon aspect. Everything is on that horizon, really. Your relative position to it. Very good. So, the flag back there showed some wind. A little bit of speed of the year, a little more, because we're going to be sideways with the wind. There you go. If the wind is stronger than our airspeed, it's going to kind of, especially from the left, it's going to kick us a little bit. Right now, 400 feet, you're going to climb. You're going to raise your collective, left pedal. You're going to allow the aircraft to accelerate to 60. That's going to be your climb attitude. Once you get 60, you hold that attitude. You keep on raising your power. And we're going to actually go to 1,000 feet on this heading. But not much more than 60, because the next thing we're going to play with is a bit of an out-of-ground effect hover.
Okay.
You see the ground move slow, the relative motion is slow. It reflects into a much softer feel in the controls. Plus, we're not really worried about the ground being so high anymore. And 800 is actually fine. And now you're going to decelerate the aircraft. So, lower the collective a bit of that right pedal, cyclic aft ever so slight. We want to hold 1,000 feet, so it's fine judgment of those controls. Because really the only thing we're interested in is losing the airspeed, but not the altitude. You see the needle is going to go in the negative, so to support it, eventually, if you start seeing it, the tendency going into the negative, to start raising your collective. The goal is to hold the altitude, but decay the airspeed. So right now it would be a bit of a raise. That will anyways project the nose up, so it's going to slow us down. I'm going to put you on the top. I'm going to figure out where to wind it exactly. And we keep on raising it a little bit for the altitude control. Wind is kind of from there. The wind strings are going to really tell us. So we can put a little bit of right pedal, I would say. And now we're like the weather vane. And keep on slowing her down. As you lower the collective, a little bit of the right pedal so we stay in trim. I'm helping. You're looking on your horizon right now. You're looking at the buildings and the shoreline. While you're putting your engine in 30 knots. But you see, as far as what we're seeing on the ground, it's almost like we're not moving.
Yeah.
Okay? We're going to keep on slowing down a little bit. Oh, we allowed a little climb, well, whatever. And you're going to hold it right there. Bring it back a little bit. So we really have a full effect. 20 knots. Basically the wind now in the pedal tube cell. And you can feel that in vibration. There we go. You're stationary. Or almost. Just hold. Absorb that center of gravity where it is. Look at the position of your back leg. The way you hold your hand. Where you hold your hand. Just hold. Doesn't matter if we're going a little descent rate.
I'm just next to the VLR.
Absorb, absorb. We're going to stay like that for a little bit longer.
Okay.
So really absorb that feeling.
Watson traffic at us says at 172. Over Hollover Beach, southbound, 1,200.
A little bit of right pedal. It's almost hypnotic, isn't it?
Yeah.
For a minute, I was like. Good. Got a good feel. And now for fun, you're gonna start making it turn to your right. At the same time, you're gonna increase the airspeed by 10 knots to 60. You're gonna raise your collective a little bit just to hold 500 feet on a minute. And you're gonna allow the aircraft gently to descend to 500 feet. Slow with it. Okay. Yeah, I know you like precision, we all do. But if you feel that, the wind is playing a little bit, allow it also to go a little bit with the flow. And fluctuation of airspeed plus minus 5 knots with windy condition is normal. It's not the end of the world. Not bad at all.
Oh yeah, almost there, but...
Yeah. But you see now, with what I'm bringing up, with the instruments and everything now, your attention is really down there. So when you that works obviously. And now revert to your senses to, okay, well here we don't have car, well we do somewhat. But what 500 feet feels like, what the attitude should look like, where the pump on my collective typically is when I'm flying at 60 knots. How the horizon should look if I'm level flying. Even down to how the air is actually penetrating in the cockpit. What kind of noise do I hear? Now you're using also your senses. But the instruments are cool. But don't spend too much time on the instruments either.
Half a mile of the original coordinates, north-south pattern. Now we're doing west pattern from shoreline. Basically from South Blue down to just about all over coast. Do the turn going north, so not quite going all over. Okay. Join in. Where you are.
Yeah, I'm trying to get us back to 500.
Very smooth, nice. Your hands are nice and mellow. This you can see a little bit on the horizon. You see a micron of a climb. Well, if you detect there some kind of a climb, let's see what precision we have. 200 feet per minute. Not much, huh? Now all you got to do basically is a little pressure forward and it will stop that. You stop the tendency. First you zero them out and then you go for the correction. Versus, putting sometimes correction too soon. Now we get that yo-yo thing. So stop the tendency, correct.
Gonna follow this direction straight?
Yeah, we can, sure. that a building?
Work my way
The what?
That's the building.
Do we have any clothing?
Very good. Look at those numbers. Look at your power. You make a turn. It's going to be a right turn. So I'm just not yet. Your target is to go to Sawgrass Mill, or the stadium of the Panthers back there.
Okay.
So you kind of evaluate the turn. It's going to be almost 90 degrees. If you want the turn to be at 90 degrees from this airspeed, it's going to be a decent bank, close to 30 degrees. That turn, therefore, will require a raise of that collective. You'll need power. Okay, so, you analyze already all the little things that I'm going to need to do. As you need power, you're going to need some left pedal as well. Okay? You got a target, look at it, give it a shot. Make that turn by looking only at that turn. Mechanically raise that power, look at that horizon now. Lock the back angle, a little bit of a pitch. See how she descends? Okay, don't look inside this time. Look outside and fix it only by looking outside. Very nice. Now the nose rises, so you're going to have to push that second gear just so slightly forward. Wait until everything feels smooth again. Okay. So plan everything. But you have the luxury to do that. What is a good plan of action? What are the things mechanically that I'm going to need in order to get this specific performance?
So you want to go around that building over there?
If you want, sure. So what are all the things that I'm going to need to actually get this performance? Ultimately, which are the controls that I'm going to use? Then, you're going to have to put the plan into action and somewhat test drive it. If all works out, all works out. If it needs a correction, we start over the process. We always have a, you know what I mean? Every action has a plan. There's going to be a point in your flying where, since you know, you're practicing all those things now, you're very quick at all that stuff. You won't even think too much about it. You don't realize it anymore, but now you still make a plan. But, you know what I mean? It's second nature. So now we're kind of mechanically breaking things down a little bit. Okay, so the cars are looking a little bit bigger than usual.
Yeah.
And I got a couple of birds, I got the tower, I got the wires. Wires, especially when you're flying low, always go, if you won't obviously cross them, but if you do, don't go over the sag, go over the pole. Always over the pole. That you can visually see, and that's the highest point of the wire structure. There you go. But you see, in the turn it was a dead. You worked on it, that's fine. I mean, unless that's what you want to do. Well, you know, I mean, if it's something that, well, that's what I wanted. I wanted to give a little bit of a dive into it, go a little bit lower in my turn to check something out and then rise it. Tell me also, you know, don't, because me, I'm assuming. So don't let me, if no, that's what I wanted to do.
Usually I'm just following your directions.
Oh, okay. No, but if it's something that now you start to get a feel for all that, so, well, that's what I wanted to try. Let me know, you know, because then I shut up. Very good. You know, it's become a little bit second nature. Okay, let's try to get this, just the altitude. The speed is beautiful. It's a bit of a raise of collective, a little bit ever so slight of the left pedal. We're allowed a gentle climb. It already started, but super slow. And if anything, at one point, Going to be a little bit of a change in attitude by a micron of a pressure forward. And there we go. Now we got that very mellow, gentle climb that your passengers won't even feel. They don't know you're going up because it's so smooth. You know what I mean? That's kind of what you want too. Ideally, your passengers don't really know you took off. Don't really know you landed. You know? Okay. I'm going to go and practice a little bit of hover. I'm going to make you sweat at your 1 or almost 2 o'clock position. There is a clock tower, white tall building.
Yeah.
Yep, that's your target for now.
You wanna go right now?
Yeah, we're gonna go directly to that thing. This is University Drive, and that clock tower is 5 miles to the west of Executive Airport. And I will attempt to get all the information and make the call before we get there.
Scattered. Temperature 230.1 to altimeter 3019er. Visual approach runway 13 in use. Landing and departing runway 13.
Now we're going
all
back.
Aircraft feedback, all assigned runways.
In a runway in an airport environment. 500.
Vicinity of the airport. All departing fixed aircraft contact clearance delivery on 127.95 prior to taxi. Notice Chairman. Taxiway Quebec, uneven payment at taxiways Alpha and Echo. Runway 8 is closed until further notice. Obstruction cane, 0.25 nautical miles north. Approach on runway 26, 75 feet AGL, flagged and unlit. All aircraft advised on this contact you have information, Juliet.
Juliet.
Fort Lauderdale Executive Airport Ace information, Juliet, 1953 Zulu. Wind 06010, gusting 20. Visibility 10. Sky condition 4,400 scattered. Temperature 230.1 to altimeter 3019er. Visual approach runway 13 in use.
I'm going to put those messages sometimes for several times so you start listening to all the info. It's very syntax, always the same order. Executive Tower, Helicopter 3112 Tango.
Helicopter 3112 Tango, Executive Tower.
5 miles to your west, inbound for Whiskey arrival. Initially parking at the observation deck with information, Juliet.
Helicopter 12 Tango, proceeding mouth for the Whiskey arrival. Landing will be at Pilots on Whiskey and not visible from tower. Wind 07013, gusting 20. Temperature 3019er.
Clear to land at the observation deck for 12 Tango, thank you.
Number 12 Tango, you're not clear to land. Landing in that area will be at your own risk. It's not visible from the tower.
I'm sorry, I understand. So at our own risk to the observation deck for 12 Tango. Good. The golf course is on your right-hand side.
Okay.
Going to make a little deviation that direction to the right. And we're going to hook up on that canal that we followed on the way in.
434 Juliet Alpha.
Or Oakland Boulevard.
Runway 13 Alpha.
You can use the canal to go back home.
There's
going to, at one point you're going to see that canal.
Freedom.
You can just follow that canal. Actually, you can kind of guess it right there, you see. So if you want, you can cut straight through it. Okay. By the book, we always use Oakland. Okay.
Number 434,
the canal is, give or take, from our location, about half a mile to the north of Oakland Boulevard, give or take.
Okay,
so it's acceptable as well.
34 Juliet.
Number 77, Juliet.
The big thing with the canal,
copy on side.
2 things. Very noise-sensitive area,
34 Juliet Alpha.
especially the northwest corner of this airport.
Runway 13 Alpha.
Also, if we're staying on Commercial Boulevard, you can't even see it now, but there's a very tall tower.
Okay.
And you'll see, I'll show you what
the one we passed last time with the wire.
This thing sucks.
442 on X-rays there,
because I never understood why. It's so close to an airport, but it works, sometimes it doesn't, but many times it's not lit. So you want to have a beacon on top.
Traffic midfield right downwind.
Line up and wait, runway 13, 442 on X.
Number 2 on X-ray, runway 13 at Alpha, line up and wait.
So staying over the canal is a guarantee of no obstacle.
Line up and wait on the runway.
November 2 on X-ray. Your intersection is runway 13. Continue taxiing. You're going to have an intersection departure from runway 13.
Now this is good stuff, man. Look at those numbers, look at the attitude, look at the feel, it's comfortable. Oh, it's precise, I like it.
That's a lot of information. Be very clear, please, because I'm about to get into the runway.
Number 2 on X-ray. Roger. Taxi straight ahead, make a right turn on runway 13. From that point, which is runway 13 at Alpha, cleared for takeoff, make a left turn to the northwest.
Okay, right turn at 13, clear for takeoff, left turn. 44 to 1 X-ray.
Number 2 on X-ray, roger. November 77 Juliet, runway 13, clear to land.
13, clear to land, 77 Juliet.
November 4 Juliet.
I think we had like 14 knots today, no, the wind?
We have about 20 knots. I guess
20 already?
20, yeah. You can kind of see it on the water.
November 650 Lima Alpha.
The hover today is really going to be only into the wind.
Number 650 Lima Alpha, exit tower. Roger, land in traffic.
Alpha. Hold short, landing traffic, Lima Alpha.
You see the bridge coming up? When a little bit before it, you can start thinking about your turn to the left. Airport, lake, targets. Imagine the way you're going to make your turn. Draw already your flight. It's going to be a mellow turn.
Departure on 19.7.
So you'll need a little power, but not much. And all clear, of course.
Right here, right?
Right here, yep. Over the road. The nose might want to rise a little bit. There we go, because it's that left turn, so we're going to push that cyclic out, so cyclic forward.
Alpha, executive tower, runway 13, line up and wait.
The speed is good. And now we're going to actually, I wanted to do some hover today, so the only thing we didn't manage to do was the approach. So, but we're going to practice one now. From 500 feet, you're going to go down to 300, but you're going to hold 60 knots. Or 50 is fine. The speed you hold. So the attitude basically you hold. All you do is that you're going to lower your collective. So I'm going to lower it. And look at what I'm going to do visually again. I'm going to put that needle just facing this one, or almost, or parallel. So leave them there. Watch. 500 feet per minute. Established. It's a visual check. When those two needles look at one another.
Number 0 Alpha.
Now we need a little bit. The speed decay. The manifold pressure didn't change, but the speed decay. So all we got to do is push the cyclic forward a little bit. There we go. This is a bit erroneous in some sort because it has some lag. I'll explain to you the way the system works. So it takes time for that air. There's a little bit of calibrated hole in there. Very small. It takes time for air to get in and out. The spot where we're going to is a beam dead box that is red and white. So we're going to make a turn now. We're going to try to put that box right around here. Okay? And we're going to hold it there. We're going to go, I know, a little bit slower than usual. But the exercise is to start working the collective. The collective, for example, if I do nothing with it, that box will start rising on me. So I'm going to raise my collective and lock the box where I would like to be. Where I would like the box to be on my windscreen. So all I want is to grow that box in size. The speed of the cyclic. So right there we're perfect. And we don't want to decay the speed too much, so we want to keep the disc flat. And we,
contact monitor.
now we don't have much indication from the airspeed indicator, so their airspeed is more like gauging our travel in relationship to the ground speed by the speed at which the grass is moving underneath us. Well, is right there. Look at your water tower back there and raise your collective with left pedal already a little bit. Left pedal, left pedal, left pedal. Beautiful. Very nicely done. And wait. Now here we're going to play a little bit. This is our playground.
13216.
So we can go back and forth and do all those good things if we want to. But with the wind that we have, I think we should take advantage of it a bit and just hold into the wind. Try to go for some stationary. Last time we kind of played with a hover, right?
Yeah.
So now it's the next level. And we try to go a little bit stationary for a few minutes.
12 miles north of Executive Airport along the shoreline.
And let it go, let it go. We have the room, don't worry. Wait, it's going to stop by itself.
East of the shoreline.
A little bit of a raise.
100 feet. We want to go over the top of Fort Lauderdale if we can and route over.
For example, it goes there. Let it go.
Number 210, Roger. See aircraft type.
182.
It's not really a correction in the opposite direction. If anything,
to the east now at 500.
if anything, it's just replacing the cycling in a centered position. We're going neutral with it. So for example, there we go, good.
VFR 2005.
It goes a bit.
To the Miami.
Yeah, there you go, beautiful. You're working at it.
For traffic advisors. If you want to continue out,
Beautiful.
shoreline south.
Let it go, let it go. Go center.
Out of below 1,000.
Oh, pick a target, always a target. It doesn't have to be too far, but something that you can put your energy on that's going to help you blocking your position for one.
I'll get down there. And then I'll turn in close.
But also creating a relative motion that is not too fast, you know, and that's going to translate into the way you're going to control your hand on the cyclic. So you got to go with the flow. Right now we go with the flow. If she goes in one direction, we have absolutely no obstacles. For example, here she goes forward. Well, I'm going to let her go forward, knowing that that wind in front of me is going to stop her anyway. You see what I mean? I know it's counterintuitive in some sorts, but gonna let her go a little bit. Up.
Executive Tower, November 644 Delta Sierra, holding short of runway 13.
Let her go backward.
I'm 644 Delta Sierra, Executive Tower, runway 13.
You're just neutralizing the cyclic. You're not really making corrections, you're just bringing it back to ground zero. Obviously, when the cyclic is here with the wind that we have, look at the position of this thing. This is your perfect hover, that's your point.
Right down
almost. Somewhere around here. Yep. We lock it in place. Wait. He goes a little bit. Now, yay! You see what you did just there? You actually kind of almost anticipate a little bit, which is good. Okay, so for example, here she's going to want to push me back. Okay. I'm just going to bring the cyclic a little bit forward. Here I feel that she wants to go to the left, so I'm going to bring it a little bit before the whole shebang happens. Already a little bit to the right. Here, she's perfectly still.
Executive Tower,
Let her sink.
1 Tango, holding short, 1.
It moves a little bit, but not much.
Number 6801 Tango, Executive Tower, runway 13 Alpha, line up and wait, traffic crossing downfield. Line up and wait for 01 Tango.
Very good. Me, I'm looking at that white box actually, right, red and white box. That's where my attention is, to tell you the truth. I'm kind of trying to hold it on my wind screen as if I was attempting to shoot it down. But it's still, all my energy is on that box. Yeah. My energy is so, I guess, and even yours, you see, now that we have our energy there, we almost want to go towards it. That's good. Here we go. Okay, we have a little, so we let her go back a little bit. And we just bring the cycling back to neutral. Now, we don't do that.
Number 681 Tango, make a straight out.
For certain things, I'll show you tricks later on, but look.
Straight out of 13 for 01 Tango, thank you.
I can be very proactive with this thing, and I can kind of attempt to control any way the wind is going to play with me. So you see it's a very small circle, right?
Miami departure on
I'm not moving. Thing solid.
190.764 Delta.
I could go to the extreme, and I don't really want to do that.
Tower, Baron.
We can go to the extreme of putting big controls in this thing. When you know where the center is, you never lose it. For example, look.
Number 5.
These are big controls, right?
Executive.
But the aircraft doesn't really move.
1-3.
Other than us shaking the head up there.
3 knots.
It's a solid machine.
Said you had the coordinators.
So sometimes it's actually a good little thing just for you to okay, where am I? I'm here. That's my center.
5858 Bravo.
Once you know where it is, you hold your position. But you know also that you don't have to be rigid necessarily too much with your hand.
Number 7
You can move it.
Follow the traffic on the upwind. Make straight out departure runway 13 at Alpha Cliff takeoff.
Number 73744, clear for takeoff, runway 13 at Alpha. We'll follow traffic in the upwind.
Number 01 Tango, main Cliff Class Charlie airspace. Contact Fort Lauderdale Tower 119.3 for transition.
Can I get that frequency one more time for 01 Tango?
Number 01 Tango, Fort Lauderdale Tower is on 119.3.
119 for 01 Tango, thank you.
10, 11, 12, 13. 20.
Lauderdale Tower, but
20 seconds
Tango
and plus.
executive for transition VFR along the beach.
See what I mean?
But that's
You know where it is.
Tango.
Now it's just believing it.
Executive Fort Lauderdale.
Very cool. We got 1 hour and 3 minutes.
There's traffic.
Cool. We're going to do what is called an air taxi.
Northbound at 100.
You hold it.
Unknown.
My apologies.
Again, use the target, the control. You're going to have the wind on your side. Just put it to where you have the wind right there. Sorry. When I do that, it's stupid what I do, but it's almost like imagine you nailing your position. Executive Tower Helicopter 3112 Tango at the observation deck for an air taxi. Back to shelter west, please.
Helicopter 12 Tango. Proceed as requested. Remain south of taxiway. Echo at all times. Do not overfly any taxiing aircraft.
South of Echo at all times. Will not fly any over taxiing aircraft. 12 Tango, thank you. Air taxi is nothing more than a departure. Airspeed out of the high velocity diagram. Altitude maximum 100 feet. And here now we start to get a feel for it. Deceleration.
Number 10,
Raise of the collective
Contact
level. Allow the aircraft to descend.
Traffic 1 o'clock, 3 miles northbound at 100, type unknown.
Right, that looking for the traffic. Contact 119.
You got the windsock on one side, so you know the wind is right in front of you. And you take a target, which is 9808 Foxtrot, is not bad.
58 Bravo, turn direct to the airport, runway 13, clear to land.
Direct to the airport.
Look to your left, look to your right. And you're going to put a little bit of right pedal. This is going to be a bit tricky here because the wind is coming from our left, so we're going to have to probably point a little bit, obviously. And especially when we're going to pass the hangar, you'll see it.
Still on?
You see there?
Yep.
It's a bit of a tricky spot. I'm going to cheat a little bit. Boom, 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 boom. There we go. Sweet spot there. Turn that thing around. So this, if you have the room, always do that. Take all the time that you can in order to make all the... Imagine that you're already on the pad here, even though you're not. So psychologically, you're not kind of landing on that surface. And you set yourself up way before it and figure out that, okay, well, my hover is right there. That's where the wind is potentially going to play with me once I get to the pad. And you line yourself up as well as you can. And those yellow lines are like rails. So all you're imagining now is that you're going to come and lock your skids on those rails. But all your hover control and corrections and everything were made way before you actually get on the pad. Now we slowly go on it. Oops, and I messed up. Right there. Not bad. Ooh. Hold Hold on. It's not the best thing to do, by the way, so that you know.
Just hold the right pedal, right? Just
Yeah, a little bit, but not too much, because the because when we do that, it's not, by the way, what I'm showing you is not a very good thing. If it's a slippery surface, it's one thing, and even, because when we do that, we're putting a decent amount of torque on that dolly, and the wheels might start, the chocks might be pushed out, and the wheels will be free. And the dolly now, depending if you don't have enough RPM, the dolly will start going away, and it will spin to the right. So, I had that once happen to me. Good thing I had the power, and it took off. But exactly for that reason, I wanted to, oh yeah, it needs to be perfectly on the line. I wasn't very smooth, I put way too much right pedal, and the whole dolly started moving on me. So now I did one, thank God, it was a wide open area, but I did one circle until my brain woke up and I said, what are you doing? You know? Very nice. Very, very cool. Very, very cool. So, we have, the RPM is low, fine. I'm going to cheat them, I use that word a lot. I'm going to bring that RPM just a little bit up, and I'm going to disconnect the governor as I did. Right around 80. The fan is turning fast, but it's not really an RPM at which the engine warms up, so it's going to actually accelerate the cooling process.
Yeah,
We're looking.
I think you told me that like a couple, not last time, but the one.
Yeah. So little things like that. The average time on the cool down is 2 minutes. But now when it's really, really hot in summer, that needle will not really move much. And people are expecting that needle to move. So now they have those cool downs of 3 or 4 or 5 minutes and the needle will move. A lot of money. So on the really hot days, yeah, it raises up to about 3 minutes. But that's the trick that I use. And sometimes that thing won't really drop much. But the frictions are on the cyclic. The frictions are on the collective. The aircraft is now secured. The next thing is the cylinder head temperature gauge. When you can see the number 3 out of 350 somewhat clearly, then with your left hand, you can roll the throttle off, which is now. So with your left hand, you can roll the throttle into the off position, or idle, sorry. Roll it all the way down. And once you're all the way down, with your right hand now, or actually your left hand at that stage, you disconnect, correct the clutch. And you do this for 30 seconds. Once you got 30 seconds, you can raise the mixture, and that will stop the engine. Yep. Now, we have no engine running anymore, so we don't want to waste that battery. We need it because we need the strobe light to still shine until the blades completely stop, but we can turn all our generators off. So the alternator can come off. And the magnetos, by turning the key to the off position, can go also. There we go. If it shakes a little bit, look at the position of your cyclic.
Be like right there.
Yeah. And actually that's a trick.
Makes sense, yeah.
You know, when this is really reflecting the position of your mast, imagine that. This would be your rotor. So if I have it perfectly straight, well, and there's no wind, that's my hover. I mean, if the aircraft, of course, is properly balanced. But that's basically it. For the 44s, the 22s as well, the dead center with one pilot is calibrated to be about here. So they put a plate right there, that's the way they calibrate that. They calibrate it, or actually they make all the corrections on the push-pull rods based on that plate. And it's a slightly forward right position. That's basically it. So that's what I use now. You notice when I was readjusting here, I made sure that this was not too much to the right, because if you do that also it's thrust to the right. So now actually what not only you could incline it. You could incline the whole aircraft on one skid, yeah.